Liverpool Football Club are an embarrassment. Liverpool Football Club are a disgrace. Liverpool Football Club are well and truly in the mud. If we weren't beforehand, we definitely are now. How are you telling me that a Tottenham side down on its knees, both in terms of mentality and in terms of their squad depth, managed to pull out a draw against the Premier League champions who spent 450 odd million pounds in the summer of 2025? How are you telling me that not even Dr. Tottenham, as they are known, could even help this Liverpool side not only just put in a good not only just win the game, but put in a good performance to boot? How are you telling me that this Tottenham side, which makes every other team that they face look like they are prime Barcelona, Liverpool couldn't even achieve that level? How are you telling me that this season could well and truly be over this very week if things don't pick up for Galatasaray? And how are you telling me that we sit here on March the 16th, 2026, with Champions League football for next season slowly fading away? We're lucky that everybody else in this race is crap as it is. How are you telling me that that is potentially fading away and this manager's still here? There has been no statement, no announcement, nothing from this football club to even suggest that this manager is going to be sacked. In any other line of work, this would be gross incompetence. This would be sackable offence after sackable offence. I said in my preview, anything other than a win is unacceptable. A draw, a loss, completely unacceptable, not happening, should not be condoned. And look what happened. Another disgraceful performance. Another embarrassment. Another example of the same old when it comes to Liverpool and their season so far. And yet, there's been nothing from the club. There is a manager out there that would take this club forward. And yet, Liverpool are sat on their hands again, hoping and praying that things will improve. We're not a sacking club. Yeah, well, we're also not a club that should be this embarrassed. We're also not a club that should be left absolutely humiliated at... I know it says that it's a draw, but this, realistically, let's face it, is a loss. This is a loss. We should be a side that is not embarrassed and humiliated at the worst Tottenham side potentially in their history. I don't know Tottenham all too well to suggest whether or not this Tottenham side is the worst that they've ever had. But let's be honest, looking at it, they are downright terrible. And we made them look like a competent side yesterday. We are a disgrace. We are an absolute disgrace. And it's not all on the manager. Of course, it's not all on the manager. These players need to take some responsibility as well. I'm sure we will get into them later on in the stream. The board have let this go on for way too long. They are just as much of a criminal in all of this as this bald-headed fraud. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick of it. I had every right to be nervous and worried going into yesterday's game. And yet, rival fans were saying, this is going to be easy for Liverpool. It's going to be a whitewash for Liverpool. It's going to be an absolutely humiliating and embarrassing night for Spurs. Everybody was making predictions. Even Spurs fans themselves were making predictions that they were going to get absolutely slaughtered. 3, 4, 5, 6 goals to however. And I said to everyone, this isn't going to be a high-scoring game as you think. Liverpool are only threatening from set pieces and the possibility that the opposition hands us a goal. And guess what? If it wasn't for Poppadom hands Vicario, if it wasn't for the paper-thin wrists of Vicario, we wouldn't have scored yesterday, and we probably wouldn't have won the game yesterday either. Because Dominic Soboslai's free kick wasn't his best, and yet it managed to break the wrists of Vicario and go into the back of the net. This has not improved since day one of this Premier League season. Things have not improved in any other competition. We are still absolutely terrible. We are £450 million deep and things haven't improved. And we can look at the players. But these are not crap players. These are not terrible players. What, you think overnight, the likes of Alexis McAllister, Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, Ibrahima Konate, Andy Robertson, Cody Gakpo even, have all just become terrible overnight? No. This is a completely different side to the Liverpool side that won the Premier League last season. Completely different side. With a completely different idea, a foundation that, rather than be built upon completely by Arne Slot, he's decided that after 1 year of Jurgen Klopp laying the foundations for the previous 9 years, that he should basically break it all up, destroy it, and try and rebuild something different. But the foundations he decided to build on were not relayed. He decided to break up all the foundations and lay it on shaky, broken foundations. And now look at what we are. Look at where we are. Players haven't been good enough. Players need to take some responsibility. 120%. There were some disgraceful performances out there yesterday. There's only 2 players in my mind that can hold their heads up with a little bit of pride at the end of yesterday's game. And that is the goalkeeper, Alisson Becker, who kept us in it, who kept us obviously in that game to get at the very least a point. And the other one is a 17-year-old kid who deserves more game time, more praise, because everybody else was shocking. They were shocking to just about average. We let a Tottenham side managed by one of the worst managers in the Premier League as of today, one of the worst man managers, get a point against us. How do I go into Wednesday's game against Galatasaray, even with 100% Liverpool fans in that stadium at Anfield? How do I go into that game with any sort of confidence whatsoever that Liverpool can overturn a 1-goal deficit and go through? We play the most boring, blandest, most predictable style of football. There is no adventure. There's no excitement. You've got players being played out of position. You've got our best player being played at right back over our natural choice right back for some reason. You've got Cody Gakpo, who starts every single game despite being crap. You've got Gravenberch, who clearly needs some sort of rest or a change of position or some sort of freshening up, who plays every single game despite the fact that his performances are crap. What the hell are we supposed to do here? We come on these streams, we go on to every other stream from a Liverpool content fan creator, and we literally say the same things over and over again. We literally come here after every match day and we say the same things over and over again. We literally go on anywhere and everywhere that will have us, and we say the same predictable things over and over again. We're almost as predictable as what our football is right now, because it's the same stuff over and over again. This guy is not changing. This guy is not learning. And the only time we ever do change is out of sheer desperation. Sheer desperation is the only time that Arne Slot changes. You know who that reminds me of? Erik ten Hag. You know who that reminds me of? Any other Man United manager that has ever faced the sack much earlier than what they've actually got it. They changed when it desperately needed to. And from that change, it kept him in the job a little while longer. That's why I fear that maybe we will get a win against Galatasaray on Wednesday, and it will keep him in the job another week or two. That's why I fear that maybe we'll change something up on Wednesday and we'll actually put in a decent performance. We'll actually win the game. We'll overturn the 1-goal deficit and we will go through to the quarterfinal stages. But we're just prolonging the inevitable with doing that. We're prolonging the inevitable of this guy being sacked. Do I have any hope that we will win the Champions League to salvage our season? Absolutely not. Do I have any hope that we will also win the FA Cup or qualify for Champions League football? I have very little hope of winning the FA Cup, especially now that we've been drawn against Manchester City away from home. Do I have any hope of getting the Champions League? Maybe, considering that everybody else in the race is dropping points left, right, and centre and are crap. I think Man United are pretty much safe and sound. But 4th and 5th spot are still open for grabs. Aston Villa may drop off. We may get into it just out of potentially default. But Brentford play Wolves tonight. Who's to say that Brentford won't even pip us to Champions League football? They are very close. It could potentially happen and they have a decent run. That game at the end of the season, Brentford versus Liverpool, could be massive in terms of determining which side gets Champions League football if it plays out that way. We are so broken. We are so bad right now. Things haven't improved. It is abysmal. In a weekend in which Chelsea lost to Newcastle, a weekend in which obviously Man United and Aston Villa were going to take points off of each other one way or another, this was a big opportunity for Liverpool to once again step up, because we've had 2 opportunities now. 2 opportunities where obviously we lost to Wolves and now we drew to Spurs. And the Spurs result, as I said, was going to be the most embarrassing and humiliating result of the entire season if we lost or if we even drew. And as the game went on yesterday, with the score being 1-0, with everything going the way that it did yesterday, I knew that Spurs equaliser was inevitable. I knew the Spurs equaliser was absolutely going to happen. The later the game went on, the later it was 1-0. I was never ever confident that we were going to go 2-0 up and kill the game off. Why would I be? I knew that Spurs equaliser was inevitable, and I knew it was even more inevitable that the person to score that goal is the person that always seems to score against us in Richarlison. I knew it was going to be him. I knew it. Knew it so much that I actually put a bet on Richarlison to actually score. I still thought we would have won the game, but it would be another one of Richarlison's unimportant goals. But then in the moment, in the game, Richarlison obviously got the equaliser that, let's be real and let's be honest, people, Spurs definitely deserved. Spurs definitely deserved it. They, at the very least, deserved a point. They probably could have got more in the game. They had a couple of good opportunities. They had a couple of warning shots at Liverpool at half-time. Or just on the stroke of half-time, should I say. Where Richarlison, again, involved. A couple of headers. They should have been warning signs. But yet, we play the same way over and over again. An attack that, with the exception of Rio Engamoa, is entirely predictable. A midfield which is so wide open that any team, good or bad, can at least look like a competent side in their build-up play going forward. A defence that lacks leadership, a defence that lacks stability, a defence that lacks organisation, that again looks shaky. They look panicked every time a team goes forward to attack them. It's just a good thing we've got a world-class goalkeeper between the sticks, because this season could have been a lot worse. And yesterday could have been a lot worse had it not been for Alisson freaking Becker, who I'm surprised got back into the team straight away, by the way. I was kind of expecting it to be Mamardashvili, and I wouldn't have minded if it was Mamardashvili who was again in goal yesterday. But no, we got thrown straight back into the deep end. Thrown straight back into it. It just absolutely stinks. It stinks. It's horrible. And I just want the season to end. Just want the season to just end. Right. Big up to everybody that's here. That was an insanely long 17-minute rant. Big up to everybody that's here. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Big up to each and every single one of you on this Monday morning, whether you're Liverpool fans or whether you're rival fans that are just tuning in to throw in a bit of banter. As always, get involved in the chat, people. Let me know who's watching. Even if you're stopping by to say hi, fair play to you. Thank you for being here. Like I said, always appreciate each and every single one of you. Like I said, get involved in the chat, whether it's to say hi, whether it's to say where you're watching from today, or whether you've got anything to offer in terms of Liverpool, or even if it's just football in general. Maybe you want to talk about any other football-related topics from the weekend. I am planning on going live later on today as well. We're going to talk more of a general football show from the weekend's games, basically saying like the title race may pretty much be over, City in the mud, Chelsea in the mud, like kind of to help me feel a little bit better about the current situation of my own club a little bit, even though obviously no matter what happens to anybody else, it doesn't take away from the fact that our club is absolutely in the pits right now. But yeah, that's what the plan is later on today. So hopefully I'll get around to doing that. But like I said, big up to each and every single one of you that's already here. Big up Lucky is in the building already. He says that Arnie Slot, it's time to go, and congratulations to Galatasaray because our manager is about to engineer a boring performance that will lead to a loss. And some of the major media networks would say Slot's in. It's insane to me that this guy is not under more pressure than what... If he was a Man United manager, he would be under so much pressure right now. And everybody else seems a little quiet on it, with the exception of obviously Liverpool fans. It's weird to me. It's weird to me that is the case. And like I say, for Galatasaray, look, the only hope I've got is that out of sheer desperation, he changes it up. But we all know that is prolonging the inevitable, because we all know that the next Premier League game that we play, he's going to revert back to type and he's going to go back to the same bland, boring football. So it doesn't necessarily matter in the long term, but for the short term, we might actually beat Galatasaray because he changes things up out of sheer desperation. Big up Dina's in the building, says, morning Fletch, this is embarrassing now. We have no passion, no desire to want to win. I'm really lost for words. Completely agree, bro. Completely agree. I think the players have sort of given up on Slot and sort of given up on his way of playing. Like I say, I think I know a lot of people want to go in on the players, but until I've seen them under a different manager, I know it's kind of unprofessional for them to somewhat drop tools for this manager, because let's face it, he seems to be playing a lot of these players in uncomfortable positions, in roles and positions where they don't really want to be playing in. He seems to be playing a style that doesn't suit the players to a large degree. Until I see them under a different manager, I kind of don't want to go in on the players so much, because I know these are not crap players. I know these are not bad players whatsoever. Isak, one of the best strikers in the past few years in the Premier League. When we did have him on the pitch, it's not like, it's not like we were giving him a lot of chances to score goals with. Florian Wirtz is one of the best playmakers in Europe. And yet, you don't see it because we don't play to his strengths. Gakpo was actually all right last season. Where's his performances gone? Salah's dropped off massively. Gravenberch has dropped off massively. McAllister was one of the best midfielders in the Premier League last season. Where's his performances gone? Van Dijk, Konate. It goes on and on and on. The list goes on and on and on. We can lose to pretty much anyone. We play Spurs come to Anfield with no confidence yesterday, and they left Anfield with loads of confidence that Spurs can stay up. Look, I think it might be a bit of a one-off with Spurs. We'll see next week. Their game against Nottingham Forest next week is going to be massive. That's going to be massive in the Premier League relegation battle. Well, I would say to Spurs, don't get too ahead of yourselves, because we're just as crap as you. Pound for pound, we are one of the worst coached sides in the Premier League right now. So I wouldn't get too ahead of yourselves, Spurs fans, because there could be a possibility where Nottingham Forest absolutely slap you up next week. That could genuinely happen, because Forest aren't actually playing too bad right now. They just can't seem to score. They can't seem to score. And when they do score, it's ruled out for offside. But that is the reality of the situation right now as far as what Forest are concerned. Don't get too ahead of yourselves, Spurs fans. Enjoy the point. Enjoy the moment, of course. But just kind of put into context that we're just as crap. We are just as crap. No intro, just a jump scare. Yeah. It is basically it needed to happen, bro. It needed to happen. It needed to happen. We rolled over for Spurs. We are so toothless and pathetic. It's the same old story, bro, isn't it? It's the same old story that we've been saying all season long. You've been here for a long time now. You know that we've basically come on these streams and we've said the same things over and over again. And every so often we'll say something a little different, because maybe we actually put in a decent performance. Maybe there is something different to talk about. Maybe there's a different player, or whatever the case may be. But for the vast majority of them, we say the same things over and 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 over again. To the point where I'm completely bored of it. Spurs played badly and we also played badly. I can't no more. Yeah, we made them look like a competent team yesterday. We made them look like a team that knew what they were doing yesterday. That's actually impressive considering the Spurs side are well and truly in the mud. We made them look like they were a good, solid team yesterday. And Spurs, by the way, and that Spurs side as well, the depth of that Spurs side has been decimated. Their starting 11 decimated through injuries and suspensions. That Spurs side yesterday was atrocious. On paper, it looks atrocious. And yet we turn up and go, you know what? This is going to be a walkover. The arrogance of it is a disgrace. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. We have every right to be angry. We have every right to be fuming at the performance and result yesterday. Big up Whoops is in the building. Hope you're doing all right, bro. He says, I hate Liverpool. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not feeling too crazy about them myself right now, but fair enough. Big up Alpha's in the building as well. Lovely to have you here, bro. Spurs staying up because City and Liverpool giving them points for free. I mean, the only thing obviously with that is that West Ham picked up a point this weekend against your lot, of course, as you know, and will not thank me for reminding you. And of course, Forest picked up a point as well. So it's not ideal for Spurs that obviously everybody else picked up a point as well, but it's still something at least. It's still something at least in which they were obviously expecting a battering yesterday. Spurs fans were expecting a battering. I watched a few Spurs fans and heard from a few Spurs fans, and also watched some content creators on Tottenham, and they were pretty much anticipating an absolute hammering yesterday from Liverpool. And it was clear that those Spurs fans have not been watching Liverpool all season to expect the hammering. Don't get me wrong, still should have lost, but like they were predicting 4, 5, 6 goal margins, and I was basically there saying to myself, like, these guys don't know Liverpool. We don't do that this season. Previous years, maybe, but we don't do that this year. I think if I'm right in remembering correctly, I think the only game that we've actually scored more than 3 goals in was Frankfurt in the Champions League. I think I'm right in saying that. We don't do that no more. Oh, we beat Newcastle 4-1, to be fair. But apart from 1 or 2 performances, we don't do that. We don't really do that this season. Loser Football Club is what Whoops says here. Right now, yeah, we feel that way. The point doesn't necessarily help Spurs, and they still have the 6-pointer this week against Forest, and Liverpool still have top 5 in their own hands. Big up Marco. Hope you're doing well, my bro. I mean, yeah, you're right. It doesn't help Spurs, but it also means that they match the result of West Ham and Forest, of course. So it's not like it's terrible. And like I say, everybody was expecting them to lose. Well, a lot of Spurs fans were. A lot of Liverpool fans were kind of a little bit worried, in all honesty, and had every right to be, as the game turned out. But yeah, that Forest game is massive. That Forest game for Spurs is absolutely massive. I think maybe the winner of that may be safe. I think that could be the case when it comes to that game. But if it's a draw, then Jesus Christ, then the relegation battle will go down to the wire, and it could be a very topsy-turvy situation come the end of the season, which could make for very interesting reading. I reckon Liverpool get top 5 and Aston Villa drop out of the Champions League. Their form is horrendous. I think Villa are focusing on the Europa League now. I think Aston Villa are basically gone, you know what? We could win the Europa League. We could get a trophy for the first time in many a year. And as well as that, we could qualify for the Champions League anyway. So do what we can in the league. If it works out, it works out. But if not, let's put all our eggs in the Champions League basket, in the Europa League basket, because they have got a very good possibility of winning that competition. They've got a good squad to do it. They've obviously got one of the most experienced managers in that competition to win it. If I'm Aston Villa right now, I am prioritizing the Europa League over the Premier League. I think it could be a very good season for Aston Villa in terms of that aspect. But that is the only thing that I think will open the doorway for Liverpool to get Champions League football for next season, is if Aston Villa decide to prioritise the Europa League. I seriously don't have a clue what we can do. Sack the manager and bring Alonso in. Like that, I've been crying out for that for a long time. Slot should have gone. This is the thing. As much as Slot has proven that he's a bit of a fraud, he's a bit useless, as much as that has been proven this season, the board haven't helped by letting this go on for as long as it has. It's utterly gross negligence from the board at this point that they've allowed it to continue for this long. They have ruined our season because they have kept this guy in charge. It's ridiculous. Big up Carlos is in the building. It says, how's Liverpool doing without Luis Diaz this season? We're doing terrible, but it's not because of the absence of Luis Diaz. Let's be real. If Luis Diaz was in this side right now, he would be performing as average to shockingly bad as what the rest of this team is. Don't get it twisted. It's not Luis Diaz being the difference maker and everything. It is simply a case that if Luis Diaz was here, he would still be as poor and as bad as the rest of them. Maybe, and plus, he wouldn't be playing. Let's be real about this. If Luis Diaz was still at this football club, he would still be on the bench week in, week out, because God forbid, Arne Slot would drop Gakpo. He dropped Salah this weekend. He dropped Ekatike this weekend, but God forbid he would drop Salah. He would drop Gakpo. God forbid. God forbid. In May, we will complete 1 year and 5 months of playing horribly. I know. The only thing that saved those first 6, what was it? It's about 7 or 8 months. The only thing that saved those first 7 or 8 months was the fact that obviously it was the summer and we had won we won the Premier League. So that's the only things that actually saved those first few months. Yeah, it's shocking. There will not be Champions League football, no FA Cup win either. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. If we can't even beat Tottenham, if we can't even beat bottom of the table Wolves, what hope have we got of beating anyone that is a big team? Like, we haven't got it. Did you see the clip where Tudor went to shake Slot's hand, but it was actually another ball? Yeah, I did. He definitely thought that was Slot. He definitely thought it was Slot, and it just turned out to be another bold fella. I hate having false hope for Liverpool to put in another shocking performance. We've been having that all season, haven't we? Every time that we've put in a decent performance and said, right, this can be the moment we kick on and we actually start to perform well and we show some consistency in a good way, Every single time that happens, we are let down time and time again. It's prolonging the inevitable, bro. It's just prolonging the inevitable. Big up Gerson, who's in the building. How you doing? Well, my friend. It says Galatasaray is being promised they'll receive £5 million whatsoever from the president by beating Liverpool, and they are gonna come here fired up. That's all you need. Yeah, Osimhen's gonna absolutely dunk on us. That's my worry. Osimhen's gonna dunk on us. They're gonna stink the place up at Anfield. And here's the thing. They could sit this one out for a 0-0 goalless draw. They could sit this one out for a goalless draw and they would go through. They could get a draw and go through because this Liverpool side don't fill me with confidence that we can kill games off. And yesterday was proof of that. Like I mentioned, yesterday, the longer it remained 1-0, the longer I knew that the inevitable was coming. The longer I knew that 1-1 was just around the corner and that Richarlison was going to score the equaliser. I just knew it. You could just see it coming from a mile away. It was like a really badly scripted TV show that was incredibly predictable. A very predictable TV show. You could, or a film or whatever. You could see the ending from a million miles away. Even Stevie Wonder could have seen that ending coming from a mile away. Like, it was atrocious. It was absolutely atrocious what we saw yesterday. And now we've got to play Wednesday night, Galatasaray, and the season's on the line. The season is on the line on that night. And even if we do get in, even if we do go through, our reward is playing PSG. Arne Slot will be having PTSD nightmares of PSG because he mentions them at every opportunity. So now he can mention them again. And this time we can get slaughtered again. It's just deja vu over and over again. It's just Groundhog Day over and over again. Bill Murray settings. It's appalling. The fact that he's still not been sacked is incredible. Where is this man's sacking? We have no hope for Wednesday, Fletch. We are broken, and so am I. Like I say, the only hope we've got is that he changes it up out of sheer desperation. And he might do. Like I say, he might do. But it's never going to last. It's not consistent. And it will only last a game. And it will go back right the way to factory settings again. Awful weekend for us, Fletch. And now Champions League. Yeah, tell me about it, bro. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Big up to you, my friend, for being here. The fans is in the building. It says Florian France was a waste of money. Let's face it, he's not filled out his expectation so far, but we've not bought him for one season, and I reckon under a better manager he will actually come good. So the money, I think, eventually will pay off. But he's been terrible these past couple of games. There's no getting away from that or getting around that. I don't know whether or not we rushed him back from injury too soon. That injury that he picked up against Forest, I don't know whether or not we rushed him back way too soon or what have you. But he has been terrible. The only thing I will say is that, surprisingly, when he went off yesterday, when he went off and was substituted yesterday, we actually looked worse, which is actually impressive. In a weird way, it was actually impressive that we looked worse. And I'm not just saying, I'm not just scapegoating Verts, by the way. Everybody was crap yesterday. Everybody was crap, with the exception of two players, as I mentioned before. Two players being Alisson Becker and young Rio Engamoa. The exception of those two players, everybody was crap yesterday. But when he went off, we got even worse somehow. we got even worse. Again, very impressive. Very impressive that was the case. Yeah, he did. He definitely played yesterday, unfortunately. It's like you could put together like a combined 11 of players that just turn up for us. Like in goal, you could put Courtois in goal. Like right wing, you could put Ismail Assar. Up front, Richarlison. You know, those are just 3 players right off the bat that I can name that turn up for us. Turn up against us, sorry. That they just turn up against us every single game. They could have 36 really bad games in the Premier League, and then home and away, those players will turn up and give 10 out of 10 performances. It's just unbelievable. I watched the Bundesliga for years. Your boy's got robbed. He's a mid player. Just had a good season when Bayern won the league. I mean, he had a good season the year after as well. He had also a good season in Europe. I think you're being a bit disingenuous to the guy there. He's one of the best playmakers in world football. And he was wanted by Bayern Munich. He was also wanted by Manchester City. So I'm not kind of buying that, I'm afraid, bro. Slobosai is unreal, though. He truly is. He's not a right back, but he truly is unreal. This right back experiment needs to end. The fact that you had Jeremy Frimpong on the pitch yesterday performing as a right winger over your natural choice midfielder is a joke. Goes back to my point that I've made all season. Doesn't matter who you put on that pitch. The style is still crap. Slot's style of play is still crap. His coaching is still crap. Everything is crap. It's terrible. He's not a right back. No, he certainly is not. Big up Red Scout who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. The fans should now be on Hughes and Edwards. They do the hiring and firing, and it's obvious they back this. Let's see what happens at the end of the season. You're 100% correct. Like I say, this is gross negligence at this point that they've allowed this to go on for as long as it has been. I said get rid of Slot after we lost to Manchester United. That was all the way back in October. He should have gone then. He most definitely should have gone after the week from hell in which we lost to Nottingham Forest and then PSV. After that week, he should have most definitely gone. But they decided to keep him. They have ruined our season by keeping this guy at this club with no signs of improvement, no signs of anything getting better, and just the constant same old stuff over and over and over again, like it's Groundhog Day. It is abysmal. You are 100% correct. We should be on FSG because at this point, they're the ones, like you say, that do the hiring, they do the firing, and the fact that they decided to keep this guy on the books. Not even that, but at least earlier on in the season, you could have maybe said there might not be a manager that can take over. Okay, it's a weak argument. It's the weakest of the weak argument, but at least you can make that argument. You can't make that argument no more. Since January, you could not make that argument no more because there is a perfect manager, in my opinion, that is out there without a club, got sacked, and is just waiting for Liverpool to call him, waiting for Liverpool to put the offer on the table for the guy, and that is Xabi Alonso. For me, that is perfect. If I'm proven wrong later on down the line, I'll be proven wrong later on down the line, and I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. But to me, Xabi Alonso just seems like it fits like a glove. It's a perfect fit. But yet, for whatever reason, these owners are just wanting to sabotage this season, apparently. We are at serious risk of not only ending the season trophyless, but we are also at even more serious risk of not even obtaining Champions League football for next season. And that can't happen for a club the size and the stature of Liverpool Football Club. It just can't. Liverpool's left wing is a serious problem. You sold Luis Diaz and lost Jota, and now you have a Dutch bum who is shit. Yeah, I agree. He is. But we also have a left winger who deserves more game time. And it's not like we don't have options in that area, because you could play Wirtz there. You could play Szoboszlai there. You could play Ekitike there. You could play Federico Chiesa there. And of course, we have a 17-year-old who could be a top-class player in Rio Ngamoa, who just needs more game time. But yet he won't give him that game time. The fact that Ngamoa was taken off before Gakpo yesterday was a disgrace. Spurs were robbed as a potential penalty, and Van Dijk would have been sent off by denying Richarlison a goal-scoring opportunity. Yeah, at first I didn't think much of it at first, but it's one of those dodgy ones, isn't it? Where, especially because considering that the Crystal Palace player against Manchester United did, when that happened, the red card that happened there, with it obviously being kind of soft, I mean, anything can go now. Although I did see Gabriel a couple of times this weekend do something similar and not be punished, which was an absolute joke, considering that he seems to do it pretty much every game. And referees are not even looking twice at the incident. But I did see Gabriel do it. And I'm not like putting the blame game or anything. I'm just simply saying that I've seen it happen before, and I've seen it happen in other games as well. But yeah, Van Dijk got a little bit fortunate, in all honesty. But again, it's the fact that our midfield and defense are so open that even a team as bad as Tottenham can just walk through it with ease. It's so bad. Whoever idea it was to sell Diaz needs fired from Liverpool ASAP. That's again very disingenuous, because Diaz was not the player at Liverpool that he's becoming at Bayern Munich. Like, he had 6 months at the beginning of his Liverpool career where he was unbelievable. He was absolutely unbelievable. And then since then, he was average. He was average after that. When he came back from his injury, he was average. Last season, he was very good. He was very good last season. Not amazing, not perfect, not outstanding or anything. He was very good last season. And then he wanted to leave. He wanted to leave the year before. He was very much open to leaving the year before. And I think it was best for everybody that he did move on. Again, Diaz leaving is nothing to do with how Liverpool are playing right now. If Luis Diaz was in this Liverpool squad, not only would he be playing second fiddle to Cody Gakpo, but also when he did play, he would just be as average or as bad as the rest of them are right now. He genuinely would be. We'd be sat here being frustrated that he's probably doing the same stuff as what Gakpo is doing. That's just the reality of it. Anybody that's saying that, the Diaz selling Diaz was this or Diaz was that, it's very little to do with Luis Diaz. Very, very little to do with him. We would draw against Galatasaray and we will be out of the Champions League. Get Slot and his criminals out. One shot to save our season. One shot to save our season. And we're not taking it. Someone in Liverpool need to call the police and report Slot for fraud. Yeah, absolutely. Big up. Big up Eddie, who's in the building, says absolute madness, unbelievable. Absolutely correct, my friend. You look like a poor man's David Mitchell, says sense of Spence. You know what? That is very new to me, but I will take it. That is that. If David Mitchell is really cool, rate him. Like, I will take it. You're right. He will bench him. Yeah. It's predictable. Everything about Liverpool right now, from the manager to the players to even the fans that are complaining about what we're seeing and have every right to complain about what we're seeing. Everything about this is predictable. Very predictable. Are you really British, bro? Absolutely. What happened at Liverpool Lane? 1-1. Drew 1-1. Although it feels like a loss. The record books will show it's a draw, but it was actually a loss for Liverpool. The slot machine is open against Liverpool. Slot has sucked the life out of Liverpool. Big up, John. You are 100% correct. You can tell it in the atmosphere as well. You can tell it in the atmosphere at Anfield as well. It's appalling. It is absolutely appalling. I've never known Anfield so flat, so dead, so hostile. Did you see what Arne Slot said about the boos at the end of the game? Unbelievable. Unbelievable what he said. So he's asked about the boos at the end of the game. And he says, I think and expect that it was aimed towards the team, which I can completely understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure some of those boos were aimed at the squad because, let's face it, even the most inexperienced of managers with that Liverpool team should be able to muster something to be a Spurs side on its knees, both in terms of, like I say, mentality or squad depth, right? And yet, this guy thinks, nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I reckon all them boos are aimed at the team. How tone deaf, arrogant, and ignorant do you have to be to not accept some of the blame and responsibility in that moment? How unbelievably stupid do you have to be to not accept that those fans are unhappy? Maybe they are unhappy at the team. I'm unhappy at the team, but I'm more so unhappy at this bold-headed fraud that we have sat in our dugout week in, week out, doing the same old stuff every single game and expecting different results. And when things don't go our way, he comes on the screen, he takes his interviews, he takes his press conferences, and he delivers the most mind-numbingly stupid opinions, answers, the most tone-deaf answers you can think of, the answers to those questions that absolve him in his mind of any blame or any responsibility. How could it be the great Arne Slot's fault? This is turning into like a social experiment now to see how far Liverpool fans can take this. Because this guy is completely tone deaf. Whether he's throwing his players under the bus, whether he's mentioning PSG at every opportunity, whether he's basically exploiting our weaknesses on camera, in front of microphones, week in, week out, and is basically turning around to everybody and saying, I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to sort out these problems. And yet, Those boos that were heard in Anfield yesterday couldn't be aimed at him, had to be aimed at the team. And he understands why. Does this guy not realize he's the head coach? Does this guy not realize that all these problems that we're facing right now, the buck stops with him? He's being paid the big money to solve these problems. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable what this guy has been saying all season long. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I genuinely think this guy went to Ibiza at the end of last season and was replaced by a dumb prototype cyborg synthetic human that has no idea about football and has just been sent here to just replace him and torture Liverpool fans for having success last season. I genuinely think that's the case because this is not the same Arne Slot that helped us to win a Premier League title last season. It's just not. In all aspects of his working life, this is not the same Slot that helped us win a title last season. It just is not. Hillbilly John, thank you for being here, my friend. It says, why aren't you at work? Because I don't work right now. I will work later. Like, why aren't you at work? And if you are at work, why are you watching me? Strange. I'm loving how shit Liverpool are. Worst defending champions ever. Big up Jays in the building. I mean, there is an argument to suggest that we are 100%. I'm not blind and deluded enough to think otherwise. I still think Chelsea, when they finish mid-table, are worse. But I can understand why people would give that argument considering the amount of money that we spent in the summer and so on and so forth. So, again, I think there is an argument. I'm going to defend my team, though, and say it's not. But I can understand as to why people would definitely think that. It's the only thing I've got that's going for me right now. Big up AZ the homie. Hi, Captain Fletch and chat. How are you? I'm good, Abdul. Hope you're doing well as well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Apart from obviously Liverpool being in the mud right now. Hope you're doing well. Next up, Liverpool versus Galatasaray. Aggregate with a 1-0 scoreline to Galatasaray. The football is rubbish all season. No trophies this season and no Champions League football for next season. We can only hope. We can only hope. Liverpool and FSG need to sack this head coach. Liverpool need to reset and restart again. This is embarrassing and shocking and unacceptable. All season was bad and results is unacceptable. You're 100% correct. Again, we're saying the same things over and over again, aren't we, bro? We're saying the same things over and over and over again. The only reason that Liverpool is doing fairly in the Champions League is because it's the easy way to be transferred out of these players, and that are done with Liverpool's manager. Liverpool's players will outlast this manager, or they should outlast this manager anyway. I get where you're coming from, but they will outlast this manager. If this board had any competence about them whatsoever, they will outlast this manager. And not only that as well, but the Champions League thing, most teams play into our hands in Champions League football. Most teams play into our hands. Most teams don't sit back as much, soak up pressure and hit us on the counter-attack. One or two teams do, which is why we struggled against Galatasaray twice this season, a little bit. But even then, Galatasaray don't really do that. They do a little bit, but they don't do it to great effect because we still managed to create opportunities and chances on Tuesday night. But like I say, a lot of teams don't do that kind of sitting back thing. But right now, we struggle against anyone. Doesn't matter what style you play. Doesn't matter how you set up. We struggle against everyone right now. Low block, high press, long throw-ins, set pieces, corners, free kicks, passing the ball on the floor, passing the ball in the air. It doesn't matter. We struggle against everyone, being physical, not being physical. It doesn't matter. We're dead. Losses: Palace twice, City twice, Galatasaray twice, Chelsea, United, Brentford, Bournemouth, Forest, Wolves, and PSV is unacceptable. Draws: Leeds twice, Arsenal, Burnley, Spurs, Fulham, and Sunderland is unacceptable. You are 100% correct. And you want to know what the worst part about all those losses and draws is? Most of those games took place at home. United was at home. One of the City games, obviously, was at home. I believe one of the Palace games as well. Was the Carabao Cup one at home? I want to say it was, but I could be wrong. I want to say it was. Forest at home. PSV at home. One of the Leeds games, obviously, at home. Arsenal, they're Premier League champions, so we're not going to count the Arsenal one. That one's, nah. Burnley at home. Spurs at home. Sunderland at home. All of them at home. All of them ones are at home. How have we gone from being Premier League champions, having a fearsome record at Anfield in which teams go to Anfield and are instantly scared, to now everybody goes to Anfield, they rock up and they are so casual about the way that they play that we struggle, and we struggle hard. It doesn't make any sense. Those games were meant to be winnable for Liverpool. Next game is Liverpool away at Brighton, and that has a defeat written all over it. Brighton are coming into some decent form as well. And it doesn't even matter if they were in decent form or not, because we make them look like they were a good team. So, yeah. The only thing with Brighton, like I say, is that Brighton are stupid. And now that I've said that, we probably will go on and get battered by them. But Brighton are stupid in terms of they won't adapt their style of play for anyone. So they will pass the ball out from the back. They will make mistakes like that. And Liverpool might capitalize. That is the only thing that is going for me in that game. Is that we might actually do okay because Brighton will be the makers of their own downfall. Brighton will shoot themselves in the foot. And we might be there to capitalize on it. That's the only thing that I've got going for me in that game. Because it's not going to be through playing good football. It's not going to be through any sort of clever tactic or anything like that. It's just going to be hope and pray that either Szoboszlai can score a free kick, we can get something from a corner, or that Brighton basically help us towards scoring a goal for ourselves. There's absolutely nothing to suggest that Liverpool are going to go there with any sort of tactic or good game plan and win that game. It's just not going to happen. Big up Strengar's in the building. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. Arne Slot is clueless, out of his depth, exposed, boring football, side to side, passing backwards, passing and results unacceptable. Side to side passing, backwards passing and results unacceptable. Football is performance based and isn't good enough. Look, we're not expecting 38 games out of 38 to be perfect. No one can do that. No Premier League champion has ever made it 38 games out of 38 and been perfect in terms of their overall performances. We're not expecting that. But what we are expecting is improvement in those performances. Something sustainable, something consistent. And right now, we've got nothing. We've got absolutely nothing to go off with this squad. It is absolutely appalling. And like I say, the book stops with the manager. Clubs know how to play against us and know our weaknesses. Arne Slot has no clue to break teams down. This is the thing, he's got the tools to do it. He has the tools to do it. He's got Salah. He's got Wirtz. He's got Ngamoa. He has got all of these tools that can break down low blocks. All of these tools that he can use to play against any team. No matter how they set up. He's got the tools. He just doesn't have the know-how of how to use them. He just doesn't. The guy is the guy is out of his depth. Like you say, he's out of his depth. Toxic headshot here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us, says Richie. Of all people, it had to be the stupid chicken dancing narcissist. It was predictable, wasn't it? Very predictable. Very, very predictable, Richarlison. Because of Liverpool and City, Arsenal scumbags are winning the league. Yep. Yep. Arsenal just... As I mentioned in a previous video that I did, I don't think the Premier League is as good right now as what people make it out to be. And this isn't a bitter thing. This is not a bitter thing of me saying it's bad because Arsenal are winning the league. I know Arsenal fans will try and turn it into that. But the league isn't that great this season. And the reason why it's not great this season is because competitive-wise, it's more competitive. Games are being won and lost no matter the positions in the table of the two teams that are playing. Competitiveness, I'm okay with. I'm okay with the competitive side of the Premier League. What I'm not okay with is the standard of the Premier League. The standard is at an all-time low. It's very basic. It's very simplistic. Because guess what? A lot of teams, including Liverpool, by the way, right now, are relying on set pieces. They are relying on long throw-ins. They're relying on absolutely basic things that you can easily find good consistency with. With some work on the training ground, you can find a decent level of consistency with them. That's it. And that's why teams are finding it more competitive, because they're playing such a simplistic way. Anybody can be good from set pieces if you put in a little bit more effort in the training ground with it. Takes a lot more effort to do it with the ball on the ground, playing like a Guardiola or a Guardiola or a Klopp style of play. Takes a lot more effort. You play from set pieces, though. Like, yeah, it is what it is. Woodman, Pesci, Yaros, Davis, Mamadashvili, Ramsey, Chambers, McConnell, Kanate, Gomez, Robertson, Simicas, Endo, Reece Williams, Endo, again, Bajcetic, McAllister, Salah, Gakpo, Jones, Chiesa, Dan, Scanlon, Kumas. Big up Nems is in the building. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. We need to see our squad one by one and sell all these players. Yeah, I debate. I debate one or two of them, but I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed. As a Liverpool fan, Yes, the manager is the problem, but the team has no leadership and isn't a big concern now for us. And definitely very bad atmosphere in Liverpool. Lovely show. Big up Kevin is in the building. Lovely to have you here with us, my bro. I hope you're doing well, other than the fact that Liverpool are in the mud right now. As I say, there are a lot of symptoms with these Liverpool problems. There are a lot of symptoms with these with Liverpool right now. A lot of small problems. Like I say, but you know, whether you are talking about the squad, whether you're talking about individual players, whether you're talking about, you know, other things that are going on, the main overall problem that you can link all of these problems with, the common thread in this entire poor situation, is the manager. It's the head coach. It's Arne Slot. That is the common thread. That is the overall arching problem. That's the root cause of these issues. If obviously Slot does leave and we bring in a new manager, and things don't improve, it doesn't necessarily mean that Slot wasn't a problem. But at least then we can go, you know what? Maybe it is actually that these players aren't good enough. But I refuse to believe that these players aren't good enough, considering that we've seen for several years these players be good enough, and in some cases, more than good enough. Even the new players that we've brought in have been very, very good for their respective teams beforehand. So why can't they find that form again in this squad and in this team and in this league? It makes no sense to me. So the only thing I can draw a parallel on is that this manager is not as good as what we first thought he was. Either that, or like I say, he went to Ibiza, he got kidnapped, and he got replaced. He got replaced with a synthetic being that has got no idea about football. It's baffling to me. Baffling to me that this is a completely different guy to the manager that won us a Premier League title last season. It's a completely different guy in every aspect, not just in terms of how he prepares for a game, or how he manages a game, or how he manages the team, or how he speaks in press conferences and interviews and stuff. Like, he's a completely different guy. I've never seen someone change so much so quickly. It's baffling. We have no fight and no killer up front. This football season is haram. We don't even create opportunities. Like, when we do have opportunities, okay, for the most part, sometimes we don't kill games off with those opportunities. But also, like, we don't have anybody creating opportunities. Like, take yesterday, for example, right? We had one big chance in the game. One big chance. Tottenham had two. Tottenham had two big chances. Our XG was 1.7. Their XG was 1.18. A Tottenham side who were dead in the water. Dead in the water before kickoff yesterday. Team that got slapped up by Atletico midweek. A team that gets slapped up everywhere they go. Dead in the water. And yet, we made them look like a competent side. We made them look like they were a decent enough outfit. And that's embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing. I'm just going back here to the week, to the last Premier League game week against Wolves. We had a 2.56 XG against Wolves. Still only got 1 goal. Wolves took their chances. We didn't. Even in the games that we've won, we had less XG against West Ham than West Ham, and we still slapped them up 5-2. The result, as I mentioned on that day, flattered the performance. The same thing happened against Forest. The result flattered the performance. And even again, after West Ham, I put out a reaction video and I said, don't get too carried away. Don't get too carried away by beating West Ham 5-2. West Ham are not that great. And at the same time, I said, against a better team, we would have got beat. That's why we have to improve the performances. And I got told, no, stop being so negative. What is wrong with you? And I said, all right, I'll play the waiting game on this because I know exactly what's going to happen. Guess what? Wolves came along. And arguably, you can say that Wolves are a worse team than West Ham because they're lower than them in the table. But guess what? Wolves beat us. And then we're deservingly winners as well. Galatasaray, 1-0. Beat us. Tottenham, 1-1, but it feels like a loss. I want to know if there are any Liverpool fans out there that are still backing this manager. I want to know, and I want you to come here and tell me why. I want you to come here and I want you to tell me why you are still backing Slot. I want you to give me some good reasons as to why you are backing Slot. Good reasons as to why you still believe in this manager, still believe in this setup, because I, for the life of me, cannot think of a single reason why we should or could back this manager going forward. I really, really can't. I can't think of why. I can't think of one good reason why. There is not one single player that he has improved this season. I mean, barring... I mean, you maybe could argue Ekatike. Maybe. You could maybe argue potentially Soboslai. But I don't know if they're strong enough cases or arguments, simply for the reason that they're just doing... They're just basically... They're seemingly doing things that maybe Slot wouldn't necessarily approve of. I don't know. I can't think of a single player who's definitely improved. I can't think of anything consistent in a good way that he has done this season. I can only see us going backwards. I can only see us going backwards. Backwards in performances, backwards in results, backwards in our league table position, backwards in terms of our performances in other competitions. I can't see anything positive. I can't see anything positive. I can't see no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just doom, gloom, and depression. It really, really is right now. And this guy is not helping his case by these delusional takes that he is stating in the public domain. If we don't beat Galatasaray and get through, he most definitely should be gone. He should be gone right now. Because no matter what happens, like, we are the eventual losers in this situation. We're going to get absolutely destroyed by PSG. Absolutely destroyed by PSG if we get through. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. If Liverpool players don't improve and getting a lot of money, fans should get their money back. And I'm an armchair supporter. I've been a Liverpool fan for a very long time. Never seen this with Liverpool miss the 80s. Fair enough, bro. Fair enough. You are right. I feel sorry for the fans that are going up and down the country, especially away from home, to travel to watch this, because this level of performance, this level of playing, it's torture. It really is torture. Like, if you want to, like, if you're sleep deprived, put on a Liverpool game. It will help you sleep. It will genuinely help you sleep because it's just so boring. I'm good, bro. Glad you're doing well as well, bro. Glad you're doing well as well. The season is shit. Yeah, tell me about it. An understatement. I think Liverpool should have got a new manager in October. Take a chance with Steven Gerrard when it got slot and won the Premier League, and should not happen. Maybe it was a one-off, yet he can't do it again. That's the thing for me. It's a case of we should have rolled the dice a lot sooner. Even if it was an interim in Gerrard and waited for maybe the opportunity for a better manager to come along, like maybe seeing what Alonso was going to do. We should have done that. We should have taken that opportunity. It would have worked out for us. Well, not necessarily completely, but it would have at least been a lot better than what we're seeing right now. But yet, this board went, nah, not happening. We're going to stick with him. And the reaction online was essentially, oh, stop being so negative, get behind the team, look for things to get better. We're not a sacking club. Well, we're also not a club that gets humiliated every single week, but yet here we are. We're also not a club that is basically a charity for teams that are struggling down at the bottom of the table, but yet here we are. So, but please keep telling me how we're not a sacking club, except for the fact that, Benitez was gotten rid of. Roy Hodgson was gotten rid of. Dalglish was gotten rid of. Brendan Rodgers was gotten rid of. But yeah, please tell me how you think that we're not a sacking club just because you decided to jump on the bandwagon or were born in a year in which, when you did start to understand football and Liverpool and stuff, you basically were like, well, we've had Jurgen Klopp for 9 years and we didn't sack him even in the hard times, so we must not be a sacking club. Tell me more. Tell me more. Big up, bro. How you doing? Well, lovely to have you here with us. It says, me now. I'm scared of watching the coach who is exhausted. He's not even exhausted. He's just deluded at this point. The coach is not exhausted. He's just absolutely deluded. Out of his depth, deluded. Nems agrees. When Klopp was in charge, I remember that Liverpool would have 20 or 30 shots on goal. We used to dominate teams, suffocate them, and we would fight for every ball. It was a lot more entertaining. Sometimes it wasn't always good entertaining. Sometimes it was basically, if you're in a nervous disposition or if you have maybe heart problems, you may not want to watch this Liverpool game because sometimes it was terrifying. But at least the football was a lot better than what we're seeing. You're 100% correct. I would have liked a little bit more control under Jurgen Klopp at times, 100%. But don't get me wrong, the football was so much better. playing it on the ground, playing some beautiful, beautiful football at times. The passing, the movement, the link-up play, everything. I miss it so much. I watch compilations from time to time of Klopp ball, and it is so refreshing. It's so much like night and day in comparison to what we're seeing right now. The players just knew what to do. The players made the right decisions 9 times out of 10. Yeah, of course, there were a few games in which, things weren't great and things got a bit hairy at times, but every team goes through those moments. But for the most part, it's night and day. It's such a difference. Big up Dan, who's in the building. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us. Hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. It says Liverpool board needs to sack Slot at the end of the season. Why can't we just do it now, bro? Why can't we just do it now? Why can't we try and salvage this season by just throwing a last roll of the dice at it? Because I don't think it's going to get any better with Slot. So we might as well, like I say, take a bit of a gamble, roll the dice a little bit, do something that may salvage something of this campaign. Call me boring, but when Liverpool get new players, always get ancient, never same again. Some players don't even give apologies to fans. At least do it for them. Put your differences aside, is what Kevin says here. Slot out, slot out, slot out is what Dean is repeating here. Luis Enrique would suit Liverpool as a head coach at Liverpool. That's who I would go for. That would be my dream appointment as well. Look, but here's the thing. As much as I would want Luis Enrique at my club, I don't necessarily think that might be possible. So although he would be my top priority, I think the more realistic choice, and maybe even more of a longer-term choice, might actually be Xabi Alonso. Luis Enrique might stay for like 3 or 4 years, and then maybe he goes somewhere else. I think Xabi Alonso, if he comes in, might A, be a bit more realistic than Luis Enrique right now, and B, I also think that maybe there is a good opportunity for Xabi Alonso to maybe build something proper that may last 7, 8, 9, maybe even a decade of years. So I wouldn't mind either one of those two. One is available right now. One may be available in the summer, but there's no guarantee on whether or not he will be available in the summer. And there's also no guarantee that he would actually come to Liverpool if that is the case. Because I'm not being funny, people, but I'm looking at Manchester City right now. I'm looking at Pep Guardiola, and I'm thinking that he could be off in the summer. I'm looking at the way this season's playing out right now, and I'm thinking he could be off in the summer. And I'm thinking that if that is the case, Manchester City are going to go in hard on Luis Enrique, and they're going to do whatever it takes to convince him to go to Manchester City. So as much as I would like to thwart Manchester City, I think it could be a very difficult opportunity to do so. Slot is a one-season manager, is what Nem says here. I mean, so far, it's proving to be that sort of way. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is just something. Big up Kinsman, who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, bro. You're 100% correct, it is. Big up Tony is in the building as well. Lovely to have you here as well, my friend. It says, morning, my man. What angers me, Edwards and Hughes are happy for Slot to get away with murder at the cost of the fans to prove some kind of point as he is there. Yes, man. You want to know what the worrying thing is as well, Tony? Does anyone remember a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months ago, where Slot was talking about when he first walked in to Liverpool and how he could only sign Chiesa? And he basically put that down to having just been in a season of Europa League football. I know they qualified for the Champions League and everything, but he basically said that because they spent an entire season before he came in the Europa League, that was a problem as to why they couldn't really spend a lot, which is absolutely BS because we were planning on spending 50 odd million on Zubimendi, which didn't turn out because Zubimendi decided to stay at Sociedad before eventually moving to Arsenal, as we all know. So we know that what he was saying was absolute BS, but let's just say that he was actually telling the truth. Let's just delude ourselves for a brief moment to say that that was actually the truth, right? We're probably going to get Europa League football this season. We may even get Europa Conference League football if things actually completely nosedive. But if we don't get Champions League football, was that basically FSG's words in the mouth of Arne Slot to say, don't expect a massive summer like we did last year. Don't expect a summer in which we're constantly going after this player, that player, this player, that player, like we were last summer. Expect a summer that is going to be a bit more familiar with Liverpool and the Liverpool fan base. We will make a couple of signings, but we will still be left a player or two short, but we'll try and make the most of it. Once again, FSG, Hughes, Edwards, whoever it is, sat on their hands again like they usually do. Rather than see a minor problem and think, oh, if we act now, it won't be a massive problem in the future. Rather than do that, they basically go, here's a plaster, we'll put that over it, and if it continues, we will deal with it later. Only by that point, it's later, the problem's gotten much worse, and it's going to take an even bigger job to fix than what it would have done if we'd have just dealt with the problem in the first place. That is the Liverpool way, my friend. That is the Liverpool way. Look at the way we dealt with the Mark Gahey situation. We knew that centre-back area was a weakness. We knew that the centre-back area was going to be a problem. And yes, we have somewhat addressed it in buying Jeremy Jacquet for the summer. But just imagine what it could have been like if we'd have bought him for the here and now. Not only that, but one defender does not make up the three that we're going to need going forward. So, again, missed opportunities. But, hell, if you go over the recent history of Liverpool Football Club, there are a ton of missed opportunities that we should have taken advantage of. As a Liverpool fan, as a Liverpool look at Manchester, as a Liverpool fan, I look at Manchester United, and if I do get Champions League football, and yet Liverpool fans laughed at them, look at them now. They could bring in players in the summer. I mean, they'll always have the Man United name, but yes, adding Champions League to it as well is big for them. I said United would finish top 4, top 5 this season. I believe I put in my my predictions that I felt like they would finish top 4, top 5. So far, I've been proven right. But it just shows you how much a new manager can change things. And yes, granted, it is Manchester United. So you don't know whether it's a ticking time bomb or not. Chances are it probably is a ticking time bomb. It'll probably blow up in their faces very soon. But let's say that maybe this appointment of Michael Carrick turns permanent. Let's say that this Michael Carrick appointment will actually be a success. Just shows you what can happen. Shows you what can happen. First, for a goal from Szoboszlai, and at this point, I think he is carrying the team. Secondly, off another stinker of a performance for Gakpo. I mean, I'm going to show you. I don't think Gakpo was like the worst player yesterday in a Liverpool shirt, but the bar wasn't exactly set high, and Gakpo wasn't exactly great himself either. So I get what you're saying on both accounts. What I will say is the Szoboszlai free kick wasn't his best free kick. And I don't like to obviously diminish something like that, but Vicario should have done better. If Vicario's hands weren't made of poppadoms, he probably would have saved that because it wasn't exactly the best free kick from Szoboszlai. Like, to get it up and over the wall was good. The power on it was decent. But Vicario should be saving that. Any other goalkeeper, I think, would have saved that. But he didn't. He was poor. Very, very poor. Just my take on the free kick situation. That's all. Arsenal win the Premier League. English team will win the Champions League. Arsenal have a bad season. Man City could spend big in the summer, rebuild the team. And Juggernaut once where the only problem that you have the only problem with English team will win the Champions League is that there are probably only 2 teams that have a good realistic chance of making it. Well, 3 English teams that have a realistic chance of making it to the next round of the competition. Chelsea and Man City are both out. Let's be real. Like, barring some sort of miracle, both of those teams are out, so they're not having a chance of winning the competition. Newcastle are in a decent position, not the best, but not the worst. But they have to go to the Nou Camp to beat Barcelona, and that's easier said than done. So it's likely that they will lose that game. And that just leaves Arsenal and Liverpool, who have a realistic chance of making it through to the next round of the competition. But I don't trust Liverpool right now because they're crap. And that just leaves Arsenal, who have a good route to... They have a very, very good route to, at the very least, the semi-final, depending on who they meet there. But they also have a decent route to the final as well, if they make it beyond that. So you're basically saying Arsenal are going to do the double. And I don't want that at all. Their fans are unbearable as it is right now, and they've not won anything. So imagine what they're going to be like when they win stuff. Just appalling. It's been such a downhill again to the point I don't know if it's worth staying up late in my country just to watch the match. Yeah. Like I say, I feel sorry for traveling fans, and I feel sorry for those that are around the globe that stay up to stupid hours in the morning or get up really early or whatever the case may be to actually watch that absolute car crash of a performance. It's absolutely dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. Right the way across the board. I believe Stevie G would have steadied the ship at Liverpool until we got someone else. That's the point. It didn't need to be a permanent appointment. At no point this season did it need to be a permanent appointment. It could have just been an interim, someone who got the club just to steady things, just to unite the bond between the fans and the club again, or unite the players and make the players fight for them, or whatever the case may be. It just needed to be someone to steady the ship whilst Liverpool got their affairs in order and got a plan together. Didn't need to be a permanent appointment. We didn't need to do what Tottenham had done and basically appoint the first guy who basically said yes to them. Like, we just needed to steady the ship somewhat. And Gerrard would have been an ideal appointment. And then, like I say, if things had still worked out the same way, Alonso gets sacked by Madrid in January, and we go, Gerrard, there'll always be a place for you here, but we need to take this opportunity now whilst it is available. Give him a coaching role. Give Gerrard a coaching role. Say to Alonso, look, we'd like to keep Gerrard. Is that something that is that works for you, fine, fair enough, whatever the case may be. But like, to think that this club basically went, we would like to sack him, but we haven't got a plan in place. We haven't got a manager who can take over permanently, so we're not going to do it. It's shocking. It's shocking. Big up Fergus is in the building. He says, "Will you stop your shit? You spent 280 million on what? What exactly have I said that's somewhat disingenuous, dude?" I don't know what you've. I don't know what point you've joined in, but I've criticised all aspects of Liverpool, whether it be this season, earlier on in the campaign, or whether it be today. I've tried to be as balanced as I can with all aspects of criticising Liverpool because everybody deserves credit, but in my personal opinion, the manager is a big part of the reason why Liverpool have been in the mud this year. Just saying. They got Reluctant Gamers in the building. Lovely to have you here, bro. Massive result for your boys on Saturday night. Massive result for Newcastle beating Chelsea. Where are you now? Like, where are you now in the table after that result? Where does that result put you? Let's have a look. Ninth with 6 points separating you from top 6, 7 points separating you from top 5. Still a big win. Still a big win and a good momentum boost for Wednesday's game. Oh, sorry, Tuesday's game, isn't it? It's Tuesday. Or is it when? What day did you play last week? You played Tuesday, didn't you? Yeah, but Wednesday now, wasn't it? Wednesday's game against Barcelona. Big momentum boost. Facts, it's the Liverpool way. It absolutely is. Why do Seagulls fly upside down over Liverpool? Because there's nothing worth shitting on. Come on, United. I mean, don't they say like if birds do that, it's a bit of good luck, which is weird. I don't understand why. We would need that right now. We need a bit of good luck right now. But yeah, you're a United fan. Makes sense why you would be trolling. I understand. I get it. It's 50-50 of we get Champions League. Like I say, everybody else is just as inconsistent as we are. It's about who can be the least inconsistent. Rather than be the most consistent, it's who's the least inconsistent as to who gets top 4, top 5. But if you look at our run of fixtures, it ain't good. Our run of fixtures ain't good. Brighton on Saturday. Then we have, obviously, a couple of weeks off for international break. Because, obviously, everybody loves an international break, don't they? Then we have FA Cup. Then we have FA Cup. After the FA Cup, a week later, we've got Fulham at home at Anfield. Then we have the Merseyside derby. I'm not looking forward to that whatsoever. Then we've got Crystal Palace at home. Then we've got Man United away, Chelsea at home, Aston Villa at home. Aston Villa away, and Brentford at home. How many points realistically do you think we're getting from those 8 games? How many points do you think realistically we're getting from those games? I'm not. I genuinely don't know how many. I really don't know how many points we're going to get. Because I don't think I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think it will be enough. I don't think it'll be enough. We may beat Brighton. May being the operative word for the reason I mentioned earlier on in the stream. Fulham, a point. Everton at home. I want to say a point, but I'd be lying to you if I'd be lying to you if I didn't at least consider the possibility that Everton would actually beat us, which I never want to feel as a Liverpool fan. Maybe a point against Crystal Palace, maybe. Losing to Man United, which again, I don't want to happen, but it's a possibility that that might happen. A real possibility. Chelsea is a bit 50-50 because you never know what Chelsea side's going to turn up. We might actually beat Aston Villa because, again, if they make it to a Europa League final, their players are going to be so focused on that final that they may just throw in the towel when it comes to the Premier League. So that might actually play into our favour. But obviously that heavily relies on Aston Villa actually making it to the final to begin with. And then Brentford on the final day of the season, which, as I mentioned earlier in the stream again, Brentford could be playing for a European football place this year, which means they've got a big incentive to go out and beat us. So I'm worried. I have no confidence against any of those teams. That we're going to actually win a game between now and the end of the season. These are some massive games coming up. I'm worried. And yet, we had a good opportunity to maybe not completely guarantee our place in next season's Champions League. But I would have said that the gamble and the risk would have been worth taking by sacking Slot, bringing in an interim, or bringing in Alonso. But that's just me. I'm worried for the second leg against Galatasaray. Look, you and me both, mate. You and me both. If we can't even beat Tottenham, what hope have we got of beating Galatasaray? Not a lot. Not a lot is the answer. Because I say we need to win by at least 2 goals. We need to win by at least 2 goals. And we have the capabilities to do it. But whether we will or not remains to be seen. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I'm so done. I am so done. As a Liverpool fan, definitely only thing great about us, we have won the Premier League 20 times and we have won the Champions League 6 times. Definitely will be a very long time before we see it again. I don't think it'll be it'll be a long time. Like I said, I think the squad is there. It just needs some fine-tuning in certain places. Mainly the manager. But, you know, a winger, a right winger, a proper right winger, a centre back or two, a proper DM as well. And I think that this team will be ready again to compete. with a new manager being the brains behind the operation. I'm just deflated with this entire season. This season feels even longer than what it actually is, simply for the reason that we went into it with so much hope, excitement, and optimism, and we've just been left with boring, predictable, bland football. It's just the same. It's rinse and repeat, week in, week out. 4 points is what Nems is going for in our remaining 8 games. Might be slightly harsh, but you know what? I wouldn't put it past us as well. I wouldn't put it past us as well if 4 points was all we got. The way that Liverpool play not holding my breath. Yeah, you again 100% correct, bro. 100% correct. Do you remember when Liverpool played Arsenal away and we played okay? Didn't fancy us yet get a draw, and Slot got it right on the day. Why does he play the young players to make a difference like Rio? He should play the players like Rio. He really should. The thing with young players is, again, there's 2 things with young players. I say 2 things, and yeah, I use letters. Right. 2 things. 1, the young players that are playing, if they're good enough, it doesn't matter their age. Really does not matter their age. Of course, protect them as much as you can, but also give them the license to go out and perform. Go for it. And secondly, if they're playing in positions in which the senior players are not playing very well in, the worst that can happen for those young players is that they go in and they play to the same level of those senior players. And if that is to be the case, you go, that's kind of to be expected considering you're a young player. Maybe we'll look at different options. That's the worst case scenario. They'll play the same level as what the senior players are doing. You don't expect it from the senior players, but you kind of do from the younger players. It is what it is. Give them the opportunity. Give them the opportunity to present what they can do. For Rio in particular, there is no way in my mind that he can play to the same level as Cody Gakpo. Why? Because he will exceed the level of Cody Gakpo when he plays. You can see it alone in the 5, 10, 15, 20-minute cameo appearances that he makes in the majority of games that he plays. He will do more than what Gakpo does in those games. He'll do more than what Salah does in those games in that brief period of time. So trust him more. Play him more. Not saying play him every game. I'm not saying play him for full 90 minutes every game. But you look at the likes of Lamine Yamal and Esteval, and they're players that are very, very young, but have been given the opportunity to showcase what they can do on a big stage. Engamoa should be no different in that particular aspect. Give him the time to do something. Because it's just a case of he presents something that not a lot of Liverpool players have in their lockers right now. He actually wants to take his player on. Gakpo doesn't do that. Salah can't do that no more. The only other player that can potentially do that is Frimpong. And let's be honest, Frimpong is so much better as a fullback / wingback than he is as a winger. Trust in these players more. If you are to stay for whatever messed up, crazy reason, Slot needs to trust in his players more and not just put the same old ones out there week in, week out. I would like to see a bit more of Trey and Yoni as well. I'd like to see a bit more of Trey and Yoni. Again, Gravenberch has been terrible these past several weeks. He can't do any worse than what Gravenberch is doing right now. Play Yoni. Play a bit more of Curtis Jones. But he won't. Gravenberch and Gakpo will both start on Wednesday. Engamo will drop to the bench. Ekitike and Salah will be back in the mix. You can predict the side, can't you? You can predict the side right now, right off the bat. Alisson in goal. Frimpong at right back. Konate and Van Dijk in the heart of the defence. Kirkes left back. McAllister, Gravenberch in midfield with Szoboszlai. Salah on the right. Gakpo on the left. And Ekitike up front. Ngamoa, Wirtz drop to the bench. The only potential difference might be that Szoboszlai is back at right back again and Frimpong's the one that drops to the bench. That's the only potential difference. Either way, it's shocking. Even if Liverpool win the Champions League, Slot must go. Yep. I mean, if he did win the Champions League, they'd keep him. They would probably keep him if he won the Champions League. But performances aren't going to get any better, I don't think. Paul says United. Big up, Paul. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And as a United fan, you probably are. But yeah, is what it is. Slot really needs to trust in Chiesa. He needs to trust in a lot of these players. Chiesa is one of them. Ngamo is another. Jones and Yoni. Just needs to trust in these players a lot more. Got to go, folks. I'll see you on Thursday to review the Liverpool loss. It's nice to know that your confidence is high, Dean. But big up to you, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us, as always. Pleasure to talk football with you. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, my friend. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Feel your pain and sadness, as you say. What can we do about the mess we are in? Have a cup of tea and enjoy the day. It has to end for us soon. Think I will play for us and do it for free. Show how to do it. Oh, dear, man. It's just frustrating. It's just so frustrating. The downfall in such a short space of time is just phenomenal. For all the wrong reasons. Phenomenal for all the wrong reasons. Have a good day, bro. What do you take them? I ramble on too much, bro. I'm sorry. I ramble on too much. I do apologize. I'm sorry. I ramble on way too much. I just do. I get into the conversation. Someone throws in a good point. I ramble on about that, and then you guys are all in the chat going off, and it's brilliant to watch. And I'm so thankful to everybody that's here. So I do apologize if, obviously, timing wise, I just take my time with it a little bit too long. I do apologize, but yeah. Longer term viewers might be a bit more accepting of it. I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to wrap it up there because I have rambled on for 2 hours. I've ranted and raged for 2 hours. And yeah, I'm getting almost as bored and as predictable as Liverpool. Sorry, mate. My spelling is very poor. I have autism, Asperger's, ADHD. Forgive, mate. It's cool. Even my brain is like. Sometimes I look at something and it could be written in the most clearest way possible, and yet my brain still manages to put it in different order. So You don't need to apologize for being you, my friend. Don't apologize for being you. I really respect and love that you're here. So yeah, absolutely love that you're here and watching the content, bro. Like, I mean, it means a great deal to me, and obviously it means a lot that you're getting involved as well. So fair play and big up to you, my friend. While waiting for the Liverpool match, I turn on to watch the United match, and the first thing I saw, Man United, Casemiro, and they're not doing. Oh god! Oh my god! They did not do that. Can we get them banned just for doing that? Can we get them banned just for doing that alone? Like, that is appalling. That's even more embarrassing than drawing to Tottenham. God. And these people are allowed to go and play football for a profession. Embarrassing, sickening, horrible, disgraceful. Anyway, it's cool. Mini Jim says, "I support your journey. Big up to you, my bro. Hope you're here. Hope you're here for a while. Lovely to have you here with us. Big up to you, my friend. Lovely to have you here. But we are going to wrap up there, ladies and gentlemen. We've rambled on for 2 hours, and yeah, it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate each and every single one of you. Once again, if you're a Liverpool fan, not the most positive of streams. Hopefully things will improve. But then again, we have got Galatasaray Champions League round of 16, second leg, in which we found ourselves 1-0 down. God only knows what Wednesday has in store for us, but I will be here Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, actually, I think it will be. I don't think I'll be able to do make the morning. So it will be Thursday afternoon, probably, for the review on Liverpool's game against Galatasaray. Hopefully be a bit more positive at least. But I don't exactly have my hopes high for that one, in all honesty. But like I say, I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you are new and want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for your patience in the chat. Like I say, I'll try and get faster at flying through the comments, but I do ramble, so I do apologize. Thank you all so much for being here, being a part of the show. Your input has been absolutely amazing. I absolutely love and adore talking football with each and every single one of you. Even the trolls that obviously just want to come by and laugh at Liverpool. Let's face it, if it was the other way around, we'd do the same back. And just to end on, big up to you, my bro. He says, let's go Spurs. And you know what? Like I say, they deserved, at the very least, a point yesterday. So, fair play. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream. And I've seen speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Peace.